So, today we will see about the other group contact methods. So, after going through this lesson, you will be in a position to understand the planning and use of group contact methods, namely brainstorming, role play, bus session, forum, workshop. Then you will be able to understand the planning and use of small group techniques like seminar, conference, institution, syndicate studies, and you will be able to learn the steps and procedure to conduct the group discussions. So, first we will see about brainstorming. So, what is the meaning of brainstorming? Ideas come from the brain when it is liberated to function uninhibitedly and in a stormy condition. So, what is brainstorming? It is a type of small group interaction which encourages free introduction of ideas in an unrestricted basis without any inhibition. Brainstorming is one which attempts in developing creative ability through uninhibited expression in a formal setting. So, there are 5 components of brainstorming. So, the first and foremost component is trainer. So, he should know the pros and cons of the method. As a trainer, he should know the learning input for which the method is employed. The second important component is participants. So, they are the people for whom the method is employed to achieve the desired learning objectives. The third important component is recorder. The person engaged by the trainer to make all the observations of the participants is known as recorder. Fourth component is session. So, we have 2 sessions here, green session, that is actual conduction, and red session is the evaluation period. This is the fourth component, and fifth component is theme of discussion. So, let us see the stage and procedure details of conducting the brainstorming session. The trainer should know the procedural details. He should know what type of theme should be selected. The method should give enough scope for discussion. The conclusion should be the answer for some specific problems. The content of the theme should provide a chance for the participants to think. So, creativity, the main consideration in selecting the theme. For developing the creativity, the participants should feel free to express their ideas. So, green session. Green session means creation of atmosphere in which the participants are expected to express their ideas without thinking about the reactions of others what they speak. The trainer has to take utmost care to convince the participants that their ideas in the green session will not be censored even if they are apparently very silly. Once the trainer achieves this, the brains of the participants function in an unfreezing condition which is conducive to creative imagination. The trainer need not make efforts to convince the participants. You should make arrangements for a good recorder. You should not miss any point observed by the participants. Can use a tape recorder very secretly. Before the green session, the trainer should explain the theme very clearly. In the beginning of the green session, if no one comes out with any observation, the trainer himself should make initiative in breaking the ice. The trainer should initiate discussion if the participants do not start. So, what is the role of the trainer? The trainer is not only a facilitator, but also a guard to prevent any interference by the co-participants. He should take care of any non-verbal expressions. Time allotted for green session should be mentioned well in advance, half the time allotted for this session. Sometimes flexible depending upon the intensity of the discussion in the green session. If green session stops because of no expression of the ideas by the participants, he has to make steps to continue. Green session comes to an end when the scheduled time is over and the trainer feels that there is no need to continue the session further. By this time, recording is also over by the recorder. He should announce a short break of 5 to 10 minutes. Red session comes after the green session and the break. Ideas recorded are screened. Weed the less important ones and select the creative, useful and significant ones. The trainer's responsibility in red session is more important. So, we have to consider some important steps in brainstorming. First, arrange the seating in such a way that each member is able to face each other. Don't test the outcome as the suggestion. Evaluate the individual contributions, then finalize the results. So, what are the advantages of a brainstorming session? It helps to create an atmosphere for free expression of ideas. It helps to develop creativity in an individual. It was employed when a problematic situation requires a solution for which no ready-made answer is available. It helps the higher cognitive abilities of the participants. This method is most useful in case of any emergency situation where a quick and creative discussion has to become from the group. Disadvantages. It is very difficult initially to convince the participants that they could not speak freely. Number 2, without a proper and effective recording, the method is bound to fail. Number 3, the content with informative nature cannot be taken up through this method. It does not take care of all the categories of instructional objectives. The method does not suggest references for further reading on the topic discussed. So, these are the disadvantages. So, the next group technique is the role play. So, role play is a simulation in which learners are given a specific role to enact pertaining to their own problem or local situation. Learners play the roles based on their own experience. This technique is used to engage the learners so as to express the thinking and to promote discussion. Another group technique is buzz session. It is also known as Phillips 66 formats or huddle system. With large groups, when there is a limited time for discussion, the audience may be divided into smaller units for a shorter period. This is called buzz session or huddle system or Phillips 66. Groups of 6 to 8% get together after receiving the instructions to discuss about a specific issue assigned. The secretary of each small group will report the findings or questions to the entire audience when they are reassembled. This is actually a device to get more people to participate in a forum than would be the case otherwise. Application of buzz session. So, this buzz session is used with considerable effectiveness when there is a need for the group of participants to freely discuss in an informal setting to maximize uninhibited participation. So, the buzz sessions tends to be very sloppy with large number of participants. Hence, ideal number could be a group of 15 or 20. The buzz sessions chosen as the effective stimulant for warming up the participants through some intellectual activity before they go ahead with another method. So, now let us see how to conduct the buzz session. So, first the trainer has to select the theme which requires brief presentation and elaborate discussion. This will motivate the participants sufficiently by giving adequate information systematically so that it leads to a healthy and in-depth discussion. After the presentation, the trainer has to divide the group into smaller subgroups. The subgroups are then divided or directed to sit separately for starting the buzz session. The subgroups may sit in the same hall at different places if the hall is large enough. In the absence of large place, they can sit in separate rooms. If all the groups are accommodated in one place, it is advantageous to the objective of this method. The buzzing session continues uninterrupted till the time announced by the trainer is over. During the buzzing period, the trainer may move from group to group without interfering and disturbing the proceedings. If the trainer is conspicuous, involved in observing the buzzing session, it will result into inhibition of participants and would preclude possibility of the pre-expression. If necessary, the trainer can facilitate the buzzing. Unnecessary intervention may disturb the session. After the small group buzzing is over, all the participants have to reassemble for discussion in a formal setting under the chairmanship of the trainer. In between, there should not be any activity except a small break. The secretary of each small group will report the findings or questions to the entire audience when they are reassembled. This is actually a device to get more people to participate in a forum. The formal discussion should be conducted more or less like a seminar discussion. In the discussion session, the participants will raise questions, express their observations, react to other questions, and make attempts to integrate the ideas presented by others, and so on. In this manner, the participants interact intensively, which probably would have been possible without the bus session. Advantages. So, just like other methods, this bus group technique also have its own advantages and limitations, and let us see the advantages. Bus group creates a situation where the participants discuss freely and uninhibitedly to give them their best and receive their best from the interaction. The free discussion of the bus group generates enough interaction through which the participants develop their highest cognitive attributes. Bus group develops certain affect attributes in the participants. Bus group provides sufficient momentum for intensive interaction in the discussion to follow. This intellectual refreshment generated as a result of the session motivates and creates readiness in the participants to learn the discussion session to follow. Therefore, bus group may succeed in creating a learning situation. Bus group method can be used with youngest as well as with top level executives. Now let us see the disadvantage of the bus group session. The buzzing sound of one group may be disturbing the other groups when they are in the same hall. The other disadvantage is there may be difficulty in finding so much time because of the three important components of the method, namely presentation, bus session, and discussion. Bus group is not applicable for all type of themes. It is difficult for the trainer to participate in the discussion of subgroups in bus session and assess the intensity simultaneously. The next disadvantage is there is a possibility that the participants may discuss unnecessarily and less significant issues in the bus session under free and uninhibited environment. Bus group method sometimes may not help in generating a discussion session and distract the minds of the participants if not handled with sufficient care. So, these are the disadvantages. Next, we will see about the another group technique known as forum. So, it is a discussion period that may follow any one of the above methods of presentation. It consists of question period in which the members of the audience may ask questions or make brief statements. The forum provides an opportunity for the audience to clear up obscure points and to raise questions for additional information. It also gives individuals an opportunity to state briefly their understanding of a point and see whether they have interpreted correctly the material presented. It is primarily a means of understanding information. So, we can understand that forum can be followed after any group techniques. Next technique is workshop. It is essentially a long meeting forum, 1 day to several weeks, involving all the delegates, in which the problems being discussed are considered by delegates in small private groups. There must be a planning session where all those are involved in the beginning. There must be considerable time for work section. There must be a summarizing and evaluation sessions at the close. The workshops, as the name implies, must produce something in the end, a report, a publication, a visual or any other material objects. Next technique is seminar. So, this is one of the group technique. It is one of the most important forms of group discussion. The discussion leader introduces a topic to be discussed. Members of the audience discuss a subject in which ready answers are not available. A seminar may have 2 or more plenary sessions. The method has the advantage of pulling together the opinions of large number of persons. Another group contact method is conference. So, pooling of experiences and opinions among group of people who have special qualification in an area is known as conference. Another small group technique is institute. So, institute consists of a series of meetings and lectures. They are a source of new information and new ideas. Next, syndicate studies. These essentially follow the seminar method and the focus is on any particular subject or problem. The syndicate studies are conducted with the help of group discussions, supplemented by the available literature on the subject, and the end product is a erudite report. Resource men are utilized for the syndicate studies. The studies on any subject can continue for a month or more with 10 to 12 sittings. So, another important group contact method is group discussion. It is otherwise known as group thinking conference. So, coming to the definition, it is that form of discourse which occurs when two or more persons recognizing a common problem exchange and evaluate information and ideas. In an effort to solve that problem, their effort may be directed towards a better understanding of the problem or towards the development of a program of action relative to the problem. Discussion usually occurs in a face-to-face or co-acting situation with the exchange being spoken, and when more than two people are involved, it usually occurs under the direction of a leader. So, what is the purpose of general discussion? Number 1, to solve a problem at times of decision making process. Number 2, to exchange information in order to improve the understanding. Number 3, to motivate the clients. Number 4, to plan a program of action. Suppose if you want to introduce a new program, then we can use general discussion method. Number 5, to elect or select a person for a position. Number 6, to entertain. Number 7, to hear and discuss a report. 8, to change their attitudes. Number 9, to release tensions. Number 10, to train the individuals. So, normally after general discussions, training has been offered in order to select the subject matter and other aspects of training. How do we conduct this general discussion or group discussion? And let us see the procedure. Number 1, understand and adopt the proper technique. The technique of a problem solving group discussion consists for the following 6 steps based on the reflective thinking pattern. First, recognition of the problem as such by the group. Number 2, definition of the problem, its situation and diagnosis. Number 3, listing of as many solutions as possible. Number 4, critical thinking and testing of these hypotheses to find the most appropriate one, and feasible solution and offering feasible solution. And next purpose is acceptance or rejection of the solution or the solutions by the group. Lastly, considering how to put the accepted solution into practice. Next purpose is see that one of the group members takes the role of the discussion leader. Extension worker should avoid this role as far as possible, because in such a case a situation is likely to develop where the group listens and the chairman does all the talking. Number 3, the size of group should never exceed 30 persons. A group means the normal and optimum size of a group is 30. So, in a group discussion technique, we should see that it does not go beyond 30. What is the role of the chairman in the group discussion technique? Number 1, make a physical arrangement for the meeting so that all members feel comfortable. Seating arrangement should be such that everyone can see the faces of all other members. Circular seating is preferable compared to square, rectangle, U or V shape. Introduce members if they are new to one another. Announce the topic and purpose of discussion. Follow a plan. Any teaching process should have a definite plan of work. Next, hear all the contributions made and from time to time give short summaries of the discussions up to that particular moment, especially when the group moves from one step to another. Build a permissible climate. that the group is moving there without any obstruct according to the thinking. Give or get clarification of vague statements. Promote evaluation of all generalizations. Protect minority opinion. Try to get balanced participation. Promote group cohesion. Remain personally neutral. So he should not be biased towards any group. The leader or trainer or the chairperson should be neutral. Give a final summary of the discussion at the end. So these are the things that the chairperson should keep in mind, that he should take up. Now let us see those points that he should not do. So here number 1 is never ask questions that suggest answers or can be answered with yes or no. Don't favor one view against another when there is a conflict or difference of opinion among members. Never become emotional about the discussion. Don't become impatient with the group. Don't dominate the discussion or answer all the questions used by the members. So these are the points that should be considered by the leader or the group discussant. Next we will see the role of members. So a group will have maximum 30 members. So let us see the role of these members. First, the members should talk one at a time, one point at a time. No private conversation is allowed with the neighbors. Supply as much as pertinent information as possible. Contribute one point at a time. Answer questions directly, specifically and briefly. Test all thinking by critical analysis. Listen attentively. The members should listen attentively. Stay on the subject. Don't talk about diversified subject. Focus on the theme given. Exhibit willingness to change his opinion when change is felt. A person may hold opinions, but the opinion should not hold a person. Support the needed leadership. Promote good harmony even while organizing or disagreeing. Even if there is this difference of opinion, the members should not go into conflict. Next we will see the role of the expert. The expert may be either an extension worker or a specialist in the area. So there may be occasions when a group is confronted with is not having sufficient information to enable them to act accordingly. In such cases, the role of the expert is not to dominate the meeting, nor to suggest his own situation. He should only supply information the group does not have, furnish technical information, present ways other groups have met similar situation, and present the immediate problems in its largest setting with implications for integrating the solution of the problem with other group policies and action program. So the expert should keep in mind all this. What problem will arise, what information is needed, how should he cope up with the situation. So what are the advantages of this group technique? It is a democratic method, group discussion method. It is a democratic method, giving equal opportunity for every participant to have his say. Group discussion appeals to the practical type of individuals. Group discussion creates a high degree of interest. The strength of the group discussion lies in the fact that the discussants approach the problem with an open mind and suspended judgment in a spirit of inquiry. It is a cooperative effort and not combative or persuasive in nature. Combined and cooperative thinking of several persons is likely to be superior to that of the isolated individuals. A small group can think together on a problem in an informal fashion and work out solutions better and faster by using this method than by following rigid parliamentary procedure. Next, develops group morale. This technique develops group morale. Group discussion technique develops group morale. Group discussion is a scientific method employing the reflective thinking pattern. Participants need not be good speakers or debaters. Continued experience with such group discussion improves one's capacity for critical and analytical thinking. So now let us see the limitations of group discussion technique. Number 1, factions in villages may hinder the successful use of this method. So So there will be several, I told you that in a village there may be group of people belonging to different caste, community, creed, race, and they are not homogeneous in nature. So it is natural that conflicts may occur during the group discussion technique. Number 2, second limitation is the ideal discussions with self-discipline are difficult to find. So also it is difficult to find an ideal chairman or leader for a group discussion. Number 3, it is not suitable for dealing with topics to which discussions are new. Number 4, in large groups especially and even in small groups to some extent, it is difficult to achieve group homogeneity or cohesion. Number 5, the size of the group has to be limited because the success of this method is perhaps inversely proportional to the size of the group, other factors being constant. It is not a good method for problems of fact. It is not suitable for taking decisions in times of crisis or emergency, as it is a slow process. 8th limitation is due to its informal conversational style, the scope for an orderly or coherent arrangement of ideas is limited. So in this lesson, we can say that brainstorming is a type of small group interaction which encourages free introduction of ideas in an unrestricted basis without any limitations, and bus session can be used when the group is large and there is limited time for discussions. The audience may be divided into smaller units for a shorter period, and group discussion is that form of discourse which occurs when 2 or more persons recognizing a common problem exchange and evaluate information and ideas in an effort to solve the problem.